This is a recap of Cedric Charles Moore, who shall forever be known as the guy who punched a 12-year-old kid. So, a quick recap. Cedric Charles Moore and another passenger were driving an SUV one night in Missouri. They come across a group of people dancing on the street, playing the music across from a bar. The car stops that Cedric Moore is in. He gets out, pretends to be dancing, and, comes along to the kid and punches the kid. The dance teacher jumps up and chases after him, but he jumps back into the SUV and they drive off. The kid, fortunately, was turned out okay. He had to have medical attention and everything, but he turned out to be okay. And the police were able to trace video, surveillance. The police were able to trace the video, interview witnesses, and they eventually found out who the owner of the SUV was. The problem was the owner would not talk. So they couldn't get to the passenger who they really wanted, who was Cedric Charles Moore. The family, according to reports, also refused to cooperate with the police. So eventually, however, Cedric Moore turned himself in. Now, when I first heard that he turned himself in, I thought that was, despite the terribleness of the situation, that was still a decent thing to do, because when you turn yourself in, it kind of seems like you admit guilt and you're saying, I'm ready to face my punishment, which is always should be a good thing. We should always hold people, to me, who turn themselves in, show remorse and show guilt. We should hold them in a different light than someone who refuses to admit any guilt, shows no remorse, and runs from the police. That type of person should face a lot harsher punishment in my eyes. So anyway, but then it turns out that Charles Moore might not have turned himself in for any, high level reason. It could be that the police knew who the owner of the SUV was, and they put enough pressure on them to say, listen, somebody in your family needs to start talking, or some people are going to start going down. And I think Charles Moore realized that either he was going to get arrested or somebody in his family was going to get arrested for something. And he said, you know what? I'll just take the heat because I did the crime. Anyway, regardless of the fact, he did turn himself in. And then you think, well, maybe just to give him the benefit of the doubt, to say, what type of person thinks it's okay to drive down the street and jump out of the car and just assault people for no reason? What kind of thinking is that, right? So you think, well, maybe he didn't realize the kid was only 12. Maybe he thought it was just a tall person that he was attacking, which wouldn't make it any worse, but at least it wouldn't be a little kid, right? But if you look at the pictures of the incident, it's clearly well lit. It's not dark. It's not grainy. There's no way you can look at that kid and think he's not a little kid. He might be tall, but his frame is that of a little kid, right? So you can't even give him the benefit of that. The only thing I can think of, and the only thing I guess that we can learn from this type of thing. Oh, I'm sorry. By the way, jumping quick. Mr. Moore is now in jail in Cape Girardeau as of today. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison, which is a lot of time, but his bad luck was that the person that he hit happened to be 12. And there's no defense for that, right? So you would hope, though, that he will use his incarcerated time, Cedric Charles Moore, to reflect on the man that he is today and the man that he could become in the future. We would hope so. In the meantime, in my last video, I took the dance teacher to task just a little bit because I felt that he had allowed Cedric Charles Moore to invade their space, and he had said something too late. Because if you look back at the video, you can see that when the SUV pulls up, the instructor at one point looks back and he sees the SUV, but his back is turned to them, right? Which is a dangerous spot to be in, because you always want to know what's coming on in your back. You don't ever want to turn your back and you're just facing this direction. You don't know what's in the back of you, right? So Cedric Moore comes out and he's doing all this, like, like he's pretending like he's dancing and stuff and everything. And then you can see the instructor for a second time turns and he looks at him like that and he sees him. And Cedric Charles Moore takes about 6 more steps and then he hits the kid. And when he hits the kid, the instructor finally jumps up. Now, I understand. I'm not trying to say at all that he should have known it was, because nobody expects to be assaulted out on a clear blue sky like that. I completely get that. My point is that the instructor acted like nothing was going to happen until something did happen. To me, he should have acted like something was going to happen. And if it did happen, he would have been in a lot better position than chasing after the guy long after he's hit the kid. Maybe if he had caught the guy's eye before he took those 6 steps and the guy realized that the instructor was looking at him, who knows, he might have changed his mind. But the way he felt coming in, okay, and I know I'm splitting hairs, and I know people say, oh, I'm not blaming the guy whatsoever. I'm just saying my thing is that whenever you're out in public like that, try not to ever be surprised. Don't ever, if you sit, make sure you sit with your back against something, or you can see what's coming at, especially if you have kids involved. If it's just you and fine. But if you got 12-year-old kid or 15, then you got to be extra careful, because it's not now just about you. The kid is completely innocent. The kid looked back and he saw the guy coming and kept looking this way. You can't do that. You turn around and see somebody coming, you need to know where that person is. Like, I've seen videos of girls at the bus stop and they're on their phones and stuff and they're looking at their phones and somebody comes up behind them. No, dude. Don't be so much on your phone or so preoccupied that you don't know who's sneaking up behind you. At all times, like, turn around, look around like this and get up and stretch it. Don't just sit there, because that's what they want. They want you to be distracted. They want you to not be aware, and it just increases your safety level if you're aware of what's going on and looking around. Anyway, I digress. We're getting off topic here. The point is that Mr. Moore is now facing his time for what he did. And, good thing about the news reports is that the kid has not been deterred from dancing. He still wants to be a dancer. He still wants to go out and have fun. It hasn't affected him, hopefully, that much. He did do a GoFundMe. Last reports I heard, it was like $15K. So, a lot of people did try to help him out, but that's it for Mr. Moore. I guess we'll see what happens, what he does in prison, if he, causes any more trouble. And by the way, one last thing I forgot to point out. Cedric Charles Moore is listed as 5'7", 200 pounds. That's the guy that attacked this 12-year-old kid. I mean, it's like the story just gets more pitiful each time you hear about it, right? Anyway, that's a recap. Thanks for everybody who commented on the last story. Hopefully I'll bring some more stuff with other subjects. But if you liked it, please comment. And thanks for watching the video. Goodbye.